Hello children, welcome to the 8th standard first language English prose 2, The Boy Who Sold Wisdom. Today you will be listening to the first session of this lesson. Before we go to the lesson today, I would like you to keep your textbooks, your notebooks and your pen ready. Whenever you are asked to write down something, please do it and do it as fast as possible. Now, let us quickly look into a short story before we go to the main lesson.
Once King Akbar received a letter from a neighboring king. It read,
Dear King Akbar, please send a pot full of wisdom. If not, accept that your kingdom has no wise men. Neighboring king.
The king consulted his clever jester Birbal. Birbal requested the king to give him some time. The king agreed. So, Birbal grew a pumpkin in a pot and gave it to the king. The king sent the pot to the neighboring king, but with a note. It said,
Dear neighbor, neither the wisdom nor the pot must be damaged. If either of them is damaged, be ready for a battle. King Akbar.
The neighboring king was surprised to see the pot full of wisdom. He realized his mistake and begged King Akbar to forgive him.
How did you like the story, children? Now, shall we answer some comprehension questions on this? Yes, look at the first question that has come up. What was the demand of the neighboring king? Yes, could you answer it? Yes, the answer is the neighboring king wanted Akbar to send him a pot full of wisdom. Now, let's move to the second question. How did Birbal get a pot full of wisdom? Yes, very good. Birbal got a pot full of wisdom by growing pumpkin in a pot. Can we put wisdom in a pot? Yes, you all know that Birbal was wise. So, what did he do? He grew a pumpkin in a pot and that was how he got a pot full of wisdom. Next question. What is the meaning of a pot full of wisdom? Yes, I just told you now. A pot full of wisdom means as much wisdom that can be filled in a pot. Now, what was it that was filling the pot here? A pumpkin. So, here literally Birbal wanted to say that a pot full of wisdom, according to Birbal, a pot full of wisdom was a pumpkin. Let's look at the next question. What condition did Akbar lay to the neighboring king for using the wisdom? The neighboring king had to separate the pot and the wisdom without damaging either of them. If you have got the answers right, children, let us understand how we get wisdom. How do we become wise? Yes, if you recall, you have been listening to lot of moral stories. You have been listening to lot of stories which have taught us so many lessons. Yes, lessons. We learn lessons even from the mistakes that we make. Don't we learn? Yes, we do learn. And also, we learn from experience. Now, the experience need not be only our own experience. It can also be the experience of other people in life. We may see and learn, we may read and learn, we may experience and learn. So, all these things put together make us wise. Do you agree with me? Yes, I am sure you will agree and give this a thought always. Now, let us quickly move to the next concept. Yes, there is something to tickle our brains. Have you heard of William Archibald Spooner? Okay, if you have not heard, here it is. William Archibald Spooner was an Anglican priest noted for his absent-mindedness and for supposedly mixing up the syllables in a spoken phrase. Yes, mixing up the syllables in a spoken phrase, which resulted in a comic effect. Such phrases became known as spoonerisms, and they were named after him and are often used humorously. Now, so Archibald Spooner is the father of spoonerism. You know, he would make so many such spoonerisms, now which we commonly call as the slip of the tongue. What do we call them, children? The slip of the tongue. Yes, here I have given a few examples for you. You hissed my mystery lecture. That was what he said. What did he intend to say? What did he want to say? He wanted to say, you missed my history lecture. So, he has actually jumbled up the syllables of the two words missed and history. Now, here are 3 more sentences which I would like you to guess and tell what he really wanted to say. Will you quickly note it down? Come on, write it down. The second one, you are fighting a liar. You are fighting a liar. The third one is, my dear tons of soil. My dear tons of soil. Next one, it's roaring with pain. It's roaring with pain. Have you finished it? Okay. Now, let's learn some new words, children, before we go to the main text. The first word is wisdom. Experience and knowledge put together will give us wisdom. How do we use it in a sentence? We will also learn that now. Here is an example that is coming up. Buddha shared his wisdom with his disciples. The next word that has come up is furious. It means very angry. Now, how do we use it? I was furious when he crashed into my car. The next word is stormed. Rush in quickly. Now, let's see how it is used. The commandos stormed into the hotel room in which the terrorists were hiding. Can you see the picture? What are the commandos doing? They are storming into the hotel room, which means they are rushing into the hotel room. We shall move to the next slide. What does it say? It speaks of a contract. The meaning of contract is an official written document. Now, how do we use it in a sentence? Your business contract with us will expire in a month. Next word is document. A document is an official paper, book or electronic file that can be used as evidence or proof of something. Now, let's see how it can be used in a sentence. Anne Frank's diary is an important document in the history of Germany. Now, let's move to the next word, bargain. What is bargain? A thing bought or offered for sale much more cheaply than is usual or expected. I am sure you would have heard this word, children. Let us see how to use it in a sentence. The book sale offered a bargain galore, which means in the book sale there were lots of books which could be bought at a very cheap price. Next word is witness. A witness is a person who sees something happen and is able to describe it to other people. Now, look here, it has been used in a sentence. He is the key witness in the murder case. Next word is errands. Errands is a short journey to get something for somebody. Now, let's see how to use it in a sentence. Old people need someone to run errands for them. Here we see a young lady probably running errands. She is taking something for old people. Now, let's look into the text proper. Now, as I am reading, I am sure you will keep looking into your textbook, follow the text. You can also watch as I teach, because I will also keep the text on the screen for you. Please follow the text, and remember, children, till now I have taught you some new words, and these new words are from the text. So, when you find these new words that you came across now, underline it with a pencil. Fine? Shall we start now? Nagendra, an orphan, found himself without a job. He had learned many things from his father. One day, he had a brilliant idea. He went to the town. He hired the smallest and the cheapest place and set up a shop. Over his shop, he put a placard, "Wisdom for sale." All around him, there were large shops. Nagendra called out loudly, "All kinds of wisdom for sale, reasonable prices. All kinds of wisdom for sale, reasonable prices." Since people could not see anything in his shop, they laughed at him. No one bought even one piece of wisdom from him. One day, Babu, a rich merchant's foolish son, happened to pass by Nagendra's shop. He heard Nagendra hawking his wares. How was he hawking? "Wisdom, wisdom of all kinds. Wisdom, wisdom of all kinds." He was a stupid boy. He didn't know what was really being sold. He thought it was a vegetable or a thing which he could hold in his hand. He asked Nagendra what it would cost per kg. He asked Nagendra what it would cost per kg. Nagendra said, "I sell wisdom by quality, not weight." Babu said, "Then give me wisdom worth a nickel." And what did he do? He gave a nickel to Nagendra. Nagendra took out a piece of paper and wrote on it, "It is not wise to stand and watch two people fighting." So what was there on the paper? It is not wise to stand and watch two people fighting. He asked Babu to keep it tied in his turban cloth. Babu went home and showed his father what he had bought. He said, "I bought some wisdom for a nickel and I have it here tied up in my turban cloth." The father looked at the scrap of paper and read what was written on it. He was furious. He screamed at his son, "You fool, paying a nickel for this nonsense? Everyone knows this." Then he went to the marketplace and stormed into Nagendra's shop and scolded him soundly. "You scoundrel, you've cheated my foolish son. Return the nickel or else I'll call the police." Nagendra said, "If you don't want my goods, you can return it. Give me my wisdom and you can have your money back." Gupta, the merchant, threw the scrap of paper at the boy and said, "There, give me my money back." Nagendra said, "No, you've not given me back my wisdom. You've only returned the paper. If you want your money back, you will have to sign a document saying that your son will never use my advice and that he will always stand and watch people fighting." The passers-by supported Nagendra. So, Gupta readily signed the document and took his money. He was happy that it had been easy to undo his son's foolish bargain. A few days passed. The king of the land had two queens who hated each other. So did their maids. They quarrelled as bitterly as their mistresses. Once, both went to the same shop to buy the pumpkin. There was only one pumpkin and they began to quarrel. Their abuses and gestures were so fierce that the shopkeeper fled the place. Babu, who happened to be nearby, remembered his father's contract with Nagendra and went there to watch the quarrel. The maids fought, tore each other's hair and came to blows. One of the maids noticed the merchant's son and said, "You be my witness, she struck me." "You've seen with your own eyes who struck whom. You are my witness. She has hit me so many times," said the other maid too. Then they remembered other errands and went their ways. Yes, now till here we will be closing today's session, textual session. Now, let us see how well we have comprehended the story till here. Now, answer the questions. Why did Nagendra open a shop? Yes, Nagendra opened a shop as he had no job. Why is the merchant's son called a stupid boy? The merchant's son was called stupid as he thought wisdom was something which he could hold in his hand. What did Nagendra sell for a nickel? Nagendra sold wisdom for a nickel. Why did the two maids quarrel? The two maids quarreled as they wanted to buy the same pumpkin. Now, let's see if you can answer these multiple choice questions. So, what should you do? You have to choose the correct answer to complete the statement. The first one comes up here. Nagendra's brilliant idea was to sell his advice, to sell his idea, or to sell wisdom. What do you think is the right answer? What was his brilliant idea? Oh, it is not to sell his advice. It is not to sell his idea. Yes, the right answer is to sell his wisdom, or rather his idea was to sell wisdom. The next question is coming up. Wisdom was bought by Mr. Gupta, Babu, or people. Who bought the wisdom? It's not Mr. Gupta or the people. So, the right answer is Babu. Let's move to the next question. Babu's father was furious with him because he lost a nickel, he bought wisdom for a nickel, he bought a turban for a nickel. What do you think is the right answer, children? He bought wisdom for a nickel. I am sure this was an easy question. Let's move to the next one. Read the question correctly. Nagendra reacted to the fury of Gupta by agreeing to return the money in exchange for wisdom, disagreeing to return the money in exchange for wisdom, throwing a scrap of paper at Gupta. Now, let us see what is the right answer. So, the right answer is agreeing to return the money in exchange for wisdom. Let us correct the mistakes in these sentences. Now, how do we correct it? Let us check. Let us look at the first word that has to be replaced in the first sentence. Yes, he had no job for some time. So, it should be for some time and not since some time. Now, let us see the word. Oh, in the second sentence too, since has been replaced by for. So, the right sentence is Nagendra waited for a long time before the first customer came to him. Now, let us see what is the word that has to replace the word since in the third sentence. Yes, even here it is for. So, what is the right sentence here? For some time nothing significant happened. Now, these two words for and since, they are used in sentences when the speaker wants to talk about something that started in the past and continues till the present or even into the future. So, these two words, that is for and since, are prepositions used to express time. Now, let us quickly look into some of the examples to understand this difference between since and for. I have been living in Dharwad since 2010. So, look at this sentence, children. Now, what does it mean? Now, observe how the word since is being used. It is being used before a word that suggests a point of time in the past. Now, we are in 2020. Now, we are talking of 2010, which means it is a time in the past, or you can also say since is used with a starting point of time in the past and that which will continue till now, and sometimes it can also move forward. See, this graphically represents here. I have shown it in the form of a graph here. The line here suggests time. What does it suggest? It suggests time here. So, here we have 2010, which is the time in the past, and we have the time 2020, which is the time or the present time. Now, what is the gap of time between 2010 and 2020? It is 10 years. So, we call this 10 years as duration. So, remember, we use the word since with the point of time when we talk of a point of time. Then when do we use the word for? So, let us see here. I have been living in Dharwad for 10 years. Look at the difference between the two sentences. I have been living in Dharwad since 2010. I have been living in Dharwad for 10 years. So, did you get the difference, children? Yes, for those of you who are still a little slow in understanding, let me give you a small formula for using of the word for as an expression of time too. Now, here it comes. So, for is generally used with duration or a period of time, or sometimes to make it easy, we can also say that we can use for with a number plus a time word, like how we have used 10 years. So, we have said for 10 years. Okay. Are you through? See some more examples to make it very clear to you. I am sick since last week. So, last week is a point of time, it is a specific point of time. So, here we are using the word since. Now, look into the next example. Since July, it started raining in Bangalore. So, it has started raining, it has not stopped. It can mean it has not stopped, or it can mean that it has already stopped. Today it is not raining. July is a point of time, and therefore, we use the word since. Now, let us look at another example which is here. Students have been cleaning the garden since morning. So, morning is a point of time in the day, therefore, we use the word since. Now, let us see some more examples. Here the reference is since plus time or date. The best examples here are the 5 interlocking rings have been a part of Olympic Games since 1914. So, here we are using the point of reference of time as a year. Next sentence, the science fair is open since the 3rd of September. So, here we are talking of a date. So, I am sure you have understood when to use the word since. Now, let us see when to use the word for. Let us look at some examples. The reference here is for plus period of time. So, we have to use for before the words which suggest duration of time. Look at this example. They practiced only for a week, yet bagged the prize. So, how long? They practiced for a week. A week here suggests period of time. British have ruled our country for more than a century. So, here again it is a period of time, a century's time is a period of time. Please lend me your storybook for some time. So, here it is indefinite, even in this case we use for some time. For a long time, the country had to face severe drought. So, again here, yes, I am sure you understood that it is a period of time. Let us move to the next set of examples where we talk of for being used with number plus a time word. Shall we look at the examples, children? We must exercise for 30 minutes every day. So, here look at the 3 words that are in red. For 30 minutes. So, the number and the time word is minute. So, we have used for along with number plus a time word. Now, let us look at the next example. Hemant studied in this school for 3 years. Are you through? Are you with me? Yes, I am sure you will be able to recognize the difference between since and for. Now, we shall move to some of the home assignments that I would like to give to you. Take your pens, be ready to note it down. The first assignment or the task is the dictionary work. Now, what should you do? You have to find the meaning of these words. Use a dictionary. The first word is banished. The second word is persuade. Next one, feign. The fourth word is ruse. Let's move to the next assignment. Yes, look at this statement here. I do not sell wisdom by weight. I sell it by quality. Now, what should you do? You have to answer these questions. Yes, this is an extract from the lesson. You must answer these 3 questions. So, what are these 3 questions? Who said this? When was this said? What does it mean? Now, we look at the next question also. It is again an extract question. If you want your money back, you will have to sign a document. Now, come on, write down these questions. Who said this? When was this said? What was written in the document? With reference to the concept that I just taught you about since and for, I would like you to do the third assignment. I shall read these sentences a little fast, children, because they are in your textbook on page 18. Now, let us quickly read these sentences. The film has been on at the theatres July. The second one, she has been on a holiday the last 3 weeks. She hasn't been here a month. No one has lived there 1989. It's the first time I have been here the accident. Now is the time for us to say if you are wise. Yes, look at this. I have the answers with me for the statements that I gave you. What Archibald Spooner said, you are fighting a liar. He actually wanted to say you are lighting a fire. Now, what was the next one? He said, my dear tons of soil. He wanted to say, my dear sons of toil. It's roaring with pain. Now, he wanted to say, it's pouring with rain. I am sure you would have got the answers. And thank you, children, for a patient hearing. I am sure you will complete your assignments and be ready for the second session of this lesson. Bye. See you.